Hi, this is On Imagination with the Healing Garden and Pando. So I am in the process of writing the fourth book of the Triadic Healing series. Just give me a minute because this camera is doing something really crazy. There we go, that's better. So I'm in the process of writing my fourth Triadic Healing series book. And I'm going through skill development, and then I get to the academic disciplines that we really should be learning and studying in schools to be prosperous, thrive, and awesome in life. And I finished it. I got to read this list to you because it is an extraordinary list. And so it's up to 5 and 12 years old, from infancy up to 5 years old. But then these subjects need to go on until we're 12. Music, song, dance, drawing, painting, sculpting, reading, writing, and arithmetic. Not math, arithmetic. At 5 years old, we need to begin theater, stage, linguistics, etymology and morphology, communication, poetry, learning how to learn, quality, priority, focus, Socratic method, and the 12 ethics. And now that's in addition to story, music, song, dance, drawing, painting, sculpting, reading, writing, arithmetic. And then from 12 years old and on, we want to revisit learning how to learn, quality, priority, focus, Socratic method, to 12 ethics, with logic, then math, then geometry, problem solving, application, skill development, the user manual for the subconscious mind, networking and community, the dream tiers, physics, power, economics, human circuitry and emotional transaction of human connection, finance, sociology, human cultivation and propagation, and build a business and entrepreneurship, and the learning journey of the discovered self. Now that goes from 12 years old up to 18. With advanced learning after 18 or 15 years old, teaching, parenting, and relationships. So I'm doing all of this, and I get it all set up, and I'm going, all right, did I miss anything? And I'm going through it. And I'm going to point out that the academic disciplines are there. They are embedded in there. But I'm looking through it and I'm scratching my head and I'm going, I'm missing something. So this is like a whole thing. When I've been obsessed with what's going on with story. Why are human beings so obsessed with story for decades now? And back in 2015, I conducted massive sociological and psychological research on the science of story and what is up with humans in story. And after much study and research, I concluded that we are sentient story. We are stories living inside stories. And that's our obsession. All of this is just story. And because we are a story inside a story, we're not processing that this is actually what we need to study because we are within the point of the single first person point of view, which is story. So as a result, it never got taught in ancient Greek educational system. We taught everything around the story, but not the single point itself. It is the point. Story is the point. But when you're inside the point as the story, within the story, you're going to miss the point. And I noticed that then when we rebuilt the educational system, if you call that rebuilding it, back in the 11th century, same thing. We skipped it again. And I'm going, what the hell is going on? We really need to be studying this. So I wrote up this whole thing, the curriculum. And when I was done with it, I went, oh my God, I did it again. I forgot story. Because we are the story within the story, and our entire lives revolve around the story. Which is why we keep skipping it, which is why we keep missing it, is because it is the story. So I went through the curriculum again, and I'm like, it's going to be taught every year. Like, it's going to be like the thing that we go on and teach is just, this is the story. And when I was done with it, I laughed. And I have two dear friends who their entire lives revolve around the structure and dissection of story. They are like story scientists. That's right. That's what I'm calling them. Story scientists. And I'm an author. So I'm like right on the other side of it going, also. So we have 3 story scientists. And this is all we do is dissect and analyze story. Joseph Campbell is a story scientist. But this is a field of study that gets almost no acknowledgement because we're story within story and we're not looking at the story. So Story is the summation of your journey. It's the summation of your life. Which is why we call it authority. Author is because you are the author of your life, because you are writing your story while you're in it, living it, which means all of this is just a story. That's all it is. That's what living is. Living is the writing of your story. So now it comes to the question of, what do you want your story to be? Now we're getting into, what do you want your story to be? This is life. Life and story are synonymous. And it's hilarious because we're not, like, it's really hard for our brains to wrap around it because we're inside the point. So we're not seeing it from the outside. And it's such a huge, it was a validation when I missed it. It was literally this massive, I missed it because it is the invisible catalyst. That's why we keep missing it, is because story is the invisible catalyst of the human being. And when you find the invisible catalyst, it's the be all end all. Everything else comes out of the story. So when you are living your life, what you're doing is you are in your story. Your life stream is your actual story progression through your own story. When you are a child and you're trying to figure out what story you want for yourself, you got to pick your genre. And that's really what we're doing. You got to pick your genre. I'm an all genre. That's what I am. I'm called an all genre. It's a thing I made up for all my books, because when I write all genres. Recently, like as soon as I integrated and I started this project, I went, whoa, I'm no longer, I have my fantasy books. I have my dystopian weird things. And now I'm going, all right, now what am I writing? And I'm writing stuff. When I wrote Broken and Breaking Delusion, I went, these are all genres. So that's what I have. I've invented something called all genres, which is literally a story that accumulates everything. Like there's this one part where I'm in a fantasy, I'm walking, and there's no such thing as fiction. That's the best part. Fiction is a lie that authors wrote up to hide metaphor inside their real life, true to self story so that they could trick the abusers. Voltaire was very good at this. So Voltaire would write his beautiful little book. And it was very, very clear who he was talking about. See, Machiavelli did this too. So did Cervantes. And when the authorities, when the abusers came along and they went, what's this garbage? Hey, it's just fiction. What do you want from me? Fiction doesn't exist. That is a delusion invented by truth speakers to be safe from abusers. There's no such thing as fiction. It doesn't exist. Fiction is fiction. The only thing in the world that's fiction is fiction. So and this is so funny because now we grow up thinking, oh, fiction is fiction. It's not real, until you become an author and you pour yourself into the book. And there is this moment, every author goes through this, where we go, this isn't fiction. This is me speaking in symbolism. And every author knows this. Every author has that conversation. We sit down with our master authors. Hey guys, so I was writing my book and I realized something, and I'm just wondering if it's me. And I lived on writing forums, and we had groups in writing forums based on this philosophy, where we would go, is anyone else here their books? Like, is everyone else here their own characters? Everyone was, yeah, oh, I'm totally my own character. I am all of me in my book. It's totally an ego trip. We know who we are. There's no fiction in my book. It's all real. It's just metaphorical to hide what's really going on. It's like, look at me, but don't think it's me. That's exactly what it is. And every author goes through it. And then you've got some authors where they flaunt it. They're like, oh yeah, this is totally me. I'm all of this. And then you've got some asshat in college going, let's look at the psychological meaning of what the author meant. It's me, dipshit. It's me. You're analyzing me. So now you got these authors being scrutinized. I remember this one conversation I had with a friend of Isaac Asimov's, where my friend was explaining his conversation with Isaac about how Isaac went to a college course, like he was in there to be a guest speaker. And the professor went into this elaborate breakdown of Isaac's work. And Asimov was like, yeah, that's not at all. And then the professor looked at the author and went, no, I'm sure that's not what you mean. And Isaac's just like, excuse you? I'm the author. I think I know what I'm talking about. But the professor corrected Isaac's psychology and told him that he was wrong. Tolkien went through this too. Tolkien was like, what the fuck? Allegory is crap. And if you know Tolkien's life, Lord of the Rings makes so much sense. So I'm looking at all of this going, oh yeah, fiction doesn't exist. That is a delusion that authors made up to hide and protect the reader. There's no such thing as fiction. It's all metaphor. It's just symbolism. That's all it is. And this is really what it is. It needs to be called symbolism or not symbolism. Those are really your two genres. Is it symbolism or is it not symbolism? Now you're getting into my world. Now you're getting into the world of the abstract, which is exactly what you do when you read a book. You're stepping into the author's subconscious mind. And this is the best part. Like, I wrote Broken, and I'm broken. It is based on it. It is a true story. It is 100% true. Now it's in my mind. So it's in my mind in the abstract, which is 100% true. And I published the book. It's as it happened while it happened. So in my mind, in my abstract, which happens to have unicorns and rainbows, I've got shit going down. And the reader is going, oh, this must be a fantasy. No, it's not. You're in my mind, literally. So some diphat decided to take my book and call it fiction, and they put it over in the fiction section for a psychological horror thriller. And I'm going, what the fuck are you doing? That is 100% pure fact. It just happens to be in my head instead of in the material playing where everyone else likes it to be. Get rid of your fucking fourth wall and your veil. Stop separating my fantasy from reality because they're the same thing. And once you become once you become an ontologist, once you become an author, you start to realize, wow, this is a really, really thin line. Like there's no gray line. This is the same shit. And every author in the world is Googling each other going, or DMing each other going, oh my God, did you have this experience? And we're like, yes, it's the secret of the office. Don't tell anybody. Every movie is the conglomerate of every director, actor, author, producer crammed into a single vision going, this is our subconscious mind soup. That's what a movie is. It's a subconscious mind soup. Subconscious mind soup. I'm going to write that down because I love those words. Subconscious mind soup. That's really what you're doing when you watch a movie. You are stepping into someone's subconscious mind soup. Don't tell me it's not real. Oh, it's fucking real. Oh, it's very real. You got Steven Spielberg all over the place. You got John Williams all over the place. They merge their subconscious minds together. And you know what I love about Steven Spielberg? Every time you walk into his subconscious mind, he says the same thing to us. What the fuck are you doing here? Why are you watching my movies again? Go outside and play. Every fucking time I'm watching his movies. And it's just the same. And the older he gets, the louder he gets. Steven, I'm watching you. Every movie. His last 4 movies was just him screaming at us. Why aren't you outside living your life? Why are you watching my movie? And it's like, dude, he does not want us watching his movies. I'm going to tell you right now, stop watching Steven Spielberg's movies because just watch the last 4 movies he made. Every one of them, it's the same message. This isn't reality. This is my subconscious mind. Get out of it and go find your own. Go find your own. And I'm like, dude, I love Steven Spielberg. I'm going to have a conversation with him one day about this. I'm going to be like, dude, we're going to talk about your subconscious mind because every time I watch your movie now, I have guilt. I have guilt every time I watch Steven Spielberg movies. Every time. Because he's sitting there going, why are you here again? He writes another movie. Why are you here? And I'm like, dude, you made the movie. Get outside and go play. I'm like, okay. All right, Steven. I'll go play. It's so funny. I've never seen a movie director so adamant to get the fuck away from the television. It's like, dude, we need to talk. I have so much to say to Steven. So yeah, that's how I interpret Steven Spielberg films. I was analyzing about 12 of them. I put together The Game, and when I put together The Game, I was like, wow, like 50% of these movies are Steven Spielberg. He knows what I know. And he put it all in his movies in chronological order. And it cracked me up. Like the very first movie is Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. The very last film is Ready Player One. And I went, Steven. And then I started to go through them and I went, 50% of these belong to Steven Spielberg. Oh, he knows. He knows. And he's not subtle. The older he's getting, the crankier he's getting. He's getting more and more loud. Don't watch my movies. You haven't gotten them. I've been making movies for 40 years and you still are here. Like, he's getting angry at us because we're not, which is why as you get closer and closer, did he do Free Guy? Did Steven Spielberg do Free Guy also? I think he did. Same thing. It's like, why are you here? You need to get outside and go live your life. And I'm like, dude, all right. He's getting cranky. Like, we better go live because, yeah, like Steven Spielberg's going to lose his shit now. Because I'm like, the next movie, it's not going to be a movie. It's going to be him walking on stage. No costume. It's going to be a documentary. Steven Spielberg, I'm here now. What the fuck are you doing? I wrote you 40 plus movies and you're still here. Like, I'm waiting for that movie. It's going to be Steven Spielberg, the documentary, where he just yells at us to stop watching his films and to go play. So that's what I've learned from Steven Spielberg. That is my Steven Spielberg spiel. Yes. See, Spielberg. See, it's in his name. Yes, it's in his name. I have much to say. I admire Steven Spielberg. I love him. He's great. So, story. See, I wish Kurt Vonnegut I can see Kurt Vonnegut as a director. I can see that man as a director. Like, a little part of me feels robbed of this. A little part of me is going, why did Kurt Vonnegut do movie directing? I gotta Google this now. Did he? Like, I feel like Kurt Vonnegut in Hollywood like calls to him. No, just books. That makes me sad. Because Kurt Vonnegut, he would have like, I really see like it's like the Twilight Zone meets Alfred Hitchcock meets Steven Spielberg. I can see that like merging together. Like, yeah, let's do this. But it didn't happen. And I'm like, oh, I feel like had he stepped into the world, even as a consultant, where it's like, all right, I want to see all of his films realized by Alfred Hitchcock and Cecil B. DeMille. Okay, maybe that's a little going out there, but definitely, like, I cannot remember his name, Twilight Zone guy, and I should know because he was like in my hometown. Like, he's like, we have a Twilight Zone museum where I grew up because of where he was. We have a lot of people who came out of my area. So story is life. Like, it's life. And story is so much more fun than well, I can't say it's more fun than life, but when you take the story out of life, it's like, who am I? What am I? It's horrible. You got to know this shit. So, and this is it right here. You cannot take story out of life. You can't do it. You take story out of life, and that's like your compass, but it's more than your compass. It's your sextant. And you're like, ah! And you won't know who you are, what you are, where you're going. And you'll just be wandering and drifting through life if you even leave the door, because you've lost your fucking story. This is why story health is so vital to your health, is because it's story. We're sentient stories. And then I started to study sociology, reality, and ontology. And I'm going, whoa, so this is reality. Boy, we're all clueless. So I had that wake-up call. And then when I had that wake-up call and I realized what everything is that is reality, and that reality is everything because we're story, and it's just a mindset. And I went, wait a minute. All right. So a mindset is society is reality, and we just start picking whichever reality went. Well, what dipshit decided that this needs to be the reality? Like, I want to have a word with that guy. It's because I know who it was. It was Thomas Hobbes and John Locke. I could slap our forefathers. They're sitting there, all right, guys, we got to sculpt a new society. Did any of you study ontology? I can see me now like stepping into 1776. All right, guys, did any of you here study ontology? And they'd look at me like, why is there a woman here? But that's a whole nother conversation. And I'd be like, we need to talk about this, guys. Because ontology, man, ontology. And then the conversation would go something like, I could see Thomas Jefferson now making a lot of comments about reality and ontology, but very quietly. I can see that. So then it would be a whole, if you guys are creating reality, then, John Adams, what the fuck are you doing? What the fuck? Thomas Hobbes, is that the best? Why not Plato? Why not Socrates? Pythagoras? At least everything would be music oriented if it were Pythagoras. Like, what the fuck? I'm so pissed. Nope. They chose the biggest asshole in all of philosophy next to Filmer. God, I'm pissed. No, we're going to do Thomas Hobbes and John Locke. At least they didn't do Filmer, but like one step away from doing Filmer. And I'm like, ew. Like, of all the philosophers you chose those two assholes? No, we needed Pythagoras to create our society, because then everything would be fucking amazing by now. So I blame our forefathers for the way America is. Because when they're sitting there building this mindset, that's the kind of crap they came up with. And I'm like, Thomas Hobbes is not my superhero. I fucking hate Thomas Hobbes. Thomas Hobbes was great for his time period, which was around the 1600s. The problem is, at the 1500s, we were getting out of the third ethical perspective stage, which is basically science talk for Lord of the Flies. So we just got out of Lord of the Flies. There you go, because we're back to story again. So our society is like this. First, we're living in Spartacus, and we're living in the Bible. That's it. We got Spartacus in the Bible, and it was fucking hell, but that's okay. But we had other things going for us. We had Pythagoras prior, so it was the world of Pythagoras, and then after that, it was Spartacus, and then it was the Bible. And it's like, okay, all right, things are going really downhill fast, but okay. And then, boom, Lord of the Flies. And I don't want to be in Lord of the Flies. So when Thomas Hobbes came out of his life, when he was born, the entire psychology was, wow, Lord of the Flies just ended. So he built his entire philosophy off of Lord of the Flies government. I'm going to say that again. Thomas Hobbes built all of his philosophy off of Lord of the Flies government. There is no government in Lord of the Flies. That's the problem. So Thomas Hobbes decided to do his weird Thomas Hobbes thing. And then here comes our forefathers. They step into this role and they're like, all right, we're building a new society. Who should we choose? And who do they choose? The Lord of the Flies guy. I don't want that. We were beyond that. They evolved us. And I'm going, really? Really? You choose the philosopher who built an entire philosophy off of, holy shit, it's Lord of the Flies now. What are we going to do? That's Genghis Khan shit. Why are we building an entire culture off of the concept of Lord of the Flies? Oh, but we did, which is why we tapped out when we hit the Wild West. That was the peak of our intelligence. The Wild West. After that, we stopped growing. Now, you might argue, oh, but we got all of this technology. That is not a sign of intelligence. That just means a few really fucking smart guys put together some wires and figured shit out. They were smart. What did he say? What did he say? Men in Black. A person is smart. A people is dumb, panicky, and stupid. That's right. Tommy Lee Jones had it all figured out. He should have written our government. Tommy Lee Jones would have done a much better job than our forefathers. I just had a vision of me building a time machine, taking Tommy Lee Jones back to 1776, going, here, fix this shit, because they're putting Thomas Hobbes in charge. And he wrote Lord of the Flies. And he would have said, oh, no, guys. A people is dumb, panicky, and stupid. No. A person is smart. And then he would have pulled out Plato's Republic and said, you know who already did all of this the right way for you? Plato. And you know who studied Plato? Who taught Plato? Pythagoras. Yeah, it's called The Republic by Plato. How to Build a Government 101. Why didn't we use this book? No, we chose the Lord of the Flies instead. Yeah, oh, that's fucking great. I'm very mad at my forefathers right now. Very, very mad at my forefathers. All right, so here I am now. I could totally do a sociology class. This is how I teach history, by the way. History is sociology. Did you know? That's what they don't tell you. Sociology is history and psychology together. That's what they don't tell you, because they're not educated. That's what happens when your educators are uneducated. Yeah, unlearning. Yeah, I love this. Educators, the majority of them are unlearning uneducated, but they're educators. I did that psychology and I went, wow, we're fucked, people. We're fucked. Yes, it's called societal zits. That's what the condition is. This is societal zits. We all have acne because we're in puberty right now. Now, I already have a solution for all of this and I'm in it, but I'm just analyzing story and what story really is. And I kind of want to nurture this. Like, let's nurture the story inside of us. That's why we love theater and stage. That's why we had philosopher bards. That's why Plato made me study 9 fucking epic poetry classes. And I'm going, really? 9? We need all that. Well, there are 9 muses. Okay. He was the master, so I did. So I could do sociology. History in a nutshell is sociology. Sociology is an amazing subject for me because when I talk to people about it, they tell me what they think it is. And so far, even the sociologists, I'm going, did you study philosophy? Of course, you didn't study philosophy. No one knows what sociology is. It's right there with philosophy. I'm like, and then they start talking about unrelated shit to sociology. And I'm like, do you know what sociology is? Did you even look up the etymology of the word? Sociology, the logic and science of. Logi does not mean study. It means logic. It's Greek. Sociology means the logic of society. And I'll have these conversations with you. I remember this one person. He had a 2-year degree. It's funny because I'm thinking apprentice. He had an apprentice level. He had I can't even remember what modern people call it. Modern people. I need a name. Oh, the collective. Maybe that's what the collective. I don't even know what the collective call it. No, I don't remember what you guys call it. Anyway, he had an apprentice level 2-year degree college in sociology. And he was saying stuff. And I'm like, and he goes, well, I studied sociology. And I'm like, I studied sociology under Plato, Pythagoras, and logic. What are you talking about? And he had no philosophical anything. He had no Pythagorean psychology, no Freudian psychology. And he's saying shit. And I'm going, that doesn't even relate to sociology. What are you talking about? And I'm going, and this is it. What they teach in schools and professing and that. And when you look at what's on Wikipedia, I'm going, they don't match. They don't match. And Wikipedia cites its sources. So then I check the sources in Wiki, and I cross-reference them over to philosophy, which cross-reference them over to Plato, Pythagoras. So I'm going like, does anyone know how to check sources today? No, because we have uneducated, unlearning educators. So I'm going Wonderland, just Wonderland shit. No one studied logic and it shows. But okay, all right. So sociology is the study on movement, the psychological movement and behavior of society, which is the rise and fall and structure of a system, which is a mindset. It's a network. It's just a network. It's a big network, though. And it's absolutely one of my favorite studies. And I did a course for my daughter in 2 hours. It was literally a 2-hour, 6-page, everything you need to know about history in 2 hours. And it was the Western. I need to clarify, this is Western. I did not get into anything with China, Russia. No, this is all Western. So it was a 2-hour crash course simplified of all of history from hunter-gatherer, primordial ooze, all the way up to where we are now. And it's a graph. I need to show you this graph. It's an amazing graph because here is all of the different subjects. So you have art, war, marriages, monarchs, society, food, invention, creation, science. So literally all of the arts are all of the academic disciplines. And then you have the time period. And you can see the evolution just through the time period. So it's pick a time period, pick a region. Well, it's not even. You pick a time period, let's say 1600s. And then you can see the entire development across all of them in the entire region. That's how you study history. So you can compare. This is called math and logic and problem solving. So you can compare how China did X, how Japan did X, how Rome did X, how England did X, how Australia did X. And you can see and compare all the different progression across the board. And then you look for the common denominators because those are the constants. And you find out that there is a pattern. This is sociology. You find out that there is a human development evolutional arc that we follow, and it's highly predictable. It's extraordinary. And then you can see the trade routes. Hello, Silk Roads. How it all like absolutely intertwined. It was the most breathtaking thing. I did a lot with John Hayward. John Hayward's books are fucking extraordinary. And he did history right. It's literally the historical atlases. I have like 5 of his books. He does Norway, well, Scandinavia, the Celts, which is the same thing. It's almost the same thing. There's so much influence that it all marries into itself. And then he's got the World Atlas, and he's got Native Americans as well. And then he's got the political world. So you can see how it all merges. So John Hayward, honestly, John Hayward is all you need for history. That's it. And it's just, these are the timeline, these are the facts. And then I coupled that with the ancienttexts.org and food timeline.org. Food timeline, people, food timeline. And I was like, whoa. And so you could see with the development of food and everything that just took place, it was fascinating. So when you couple that with human evolution, development, behavior, psychology, you start to see patterns emerge. And it was amazing. This is story. But here's the thing with history is at the end of the day, Eleanor Roosevelt, you are just studying people and events. And Eleanor Roosevelt, small minds talk about people. Average minds talk about events. Great minds talk about ideas. So whenever you step into history, keep in mind that it really does not deserve a lot of your attention because you're talking about people and events. And if you spend too much time in history, you're never going to have a great idea. It is a fantastic roadmap if you're using it to apply mathematical computation and strategically analyzing it. This is how you do history. You strategically analyze it. That's what you need to be doing with history. You need to be taking your math, your logic, your physics, and applying it to history to look for strategic mathematical patterns. So, and here's the other thing is I used it as a roadmap. So for me, it was ancient Greek, Egyptian, it was Egyptian and Greek. And then Rome. Those were my 3 things. But Egyptian and Greek were my 2 hotspots. And then Ireland. So those were my 3 pieces. And I went, oh my God, so everything, all of my education began with those 3 pieces. Egyptian, Greek, Ireland. I need nothing else. Those were literally like my 3 catalysts. And the whole thing just unraveled itself for me. That was it. That led me to Rome, which led me all over the fuck place. And then I used it as a roadmap to look for, to apply my mathematics. So I used history to apply my math. And I trained myself in mathematics and logic by using history. So history is just a paintbrush. It's just a tool. So, and this is where modern education really fucks this up because they'll hand you the pen and go, this is the pen. We're going to teach you everything about the pen except how to write. This is the cover of the pen. This is the ballpoint. And this is all they do. But they never teach you how to fucking write. God forbid. So history is the same thing. It's a pen. But they're going to teach you everything about the fucking pen except how to fucking write. Because educators are uneducated. And once you... God, the world is so fucked up today. All right, I'm good. It is really, really important if you decide, I want to be an educator when I grow up. That is a responsibility. It is a responsibility because you are stepping into the mind, into the subconscious mind of a student. It is the most honorable privilege in the world to step into the mind of another person. It truly is, which is why actors bow after their performance, because they recognize that every time you watch somebody, you are being allowed into their subconscious mind, which is why I end every one of my videos with thank you, because it's a privilege to step into a subconscious mind. And you better know your fucking shit when it comes to stepping inside the mind. Because I love this, because I wrote this in my book this morning, where it's like you've got the subconscious mind and there's like these control panels and all these whiz-dee hooky thingies. And it's just like the whole clockwork is going. And you've got somebody in there who doesn't know anything about the subconscious mind. Oh, but they're in there and they're like, what does this do? And they're just like running all over the place, touching everything. And it's like, no, the switch. Yeah, so that's there. The subconscious mind is amazing. Sometimes when I talk to you, like every time, I feel like I'm walking into your mind and I'm just like admiring. I'm admiring. I'm just looking around going, but I also know that you've consented. So that's when I'm like, all right, but I also know the subconscious mind. I know what's inside of here. So I'm like, all right, I'll show you what's inside of here so you can like do your own knobs and doohickeys and things, because it's really fucking awesome in here. And for me, mine's a spaceship. I remember this when I was working on multiple personality disorder and I was studying it. There was so little information. And this one book I found, only one, and it broke down the parts of the subconscious. No, it did not break down the parts of the subconscious mind. It did not. It explained very vaguely what multiple personality looks like. And one of the things is you have domes. And I went, oh, I got domes. Oh, I got domes. I remember. So my domes, a dome is a space inside the subconscious mind where it's like the home. It is the home of the altars. So you have one dome or one home for every altar. So call it, and it's literally dependent upon your fear and how terrified you are, how lost you are. So my Irish cabin is where Joanna went. And that was there was nothing more inside of me than the Irish cabin. There was nothing more. The Irish cabin was as deep as it goes. And then there was my Egyptian room. My Egyptian room was actually my first dome. And as my personality started to dissever and disintegrate, more domes were created from the Egyptian room. So the Egyptian room was first, and that was literally between the material plane and my dome. And then when I felt even more scared, then I went into the next level beyond that, and that was my Irish cabin. And then I had the field. The field it's where I still go. It's still there because it's still all me. We're just under one collective now. So I go out into the field and it's just this wide open field. It's quiet and it's where I go to think. I love it there. So, and then there's the conversation. This is the headquarters where all the altars talk to each other at the same time, which is your kind of decor. That's actually what everybody hears, is all those conversations taking place. And we're all sitting there talking. We're reading this book about all these domes. And this one example that the psychologist gave was your dome could be anything. It could be a spaceship. And Bergen went, why don't we have a spaceship? Like, he was pissed. He's like, I want a spaceship. And I'm like, why don't we have a spaceship? We need a spaceship. We got a pirate ship. But I'm like, what the fuck? I want a spaceship. So we changed it to the spaceship. And what do we get? We get the cargo hold. That's right. We have a cargo hold now. So then I got this once. It's actually the front of the core. It's where we all convene. It's the first level of the subconscious mind. And we're all sitting there now talking. And we're like, well, definitely a spaceship. But it looks like we're in like the lower decks of the Starship Enterprise. What the fuck is this shit? Why are we in storage? And it's like, yeah, that's what we got. We got storage. We're not going to have the helm. No, we're going to have storage. So I'm in a spaceship. I have a spaceship now in my head. It's like, yes, spaceship, story. So yeah, and that's when you mentally heal. You're actually finding your story. You're getting your shit together for your story. It's like somebody told you, you have no story. This is reality. There's no story. And you're going, ah, and your story is taken away from you. And that's when you're living in modern times. That's it. That's it. We're all living in modern times. Go watch Modern Times. And you'll be like, oh my God, it's us now. Yeah, that's right. Do not think for 1 minute that Modern Times was a predictor of the future. Don't delude yourself. Modern Times was a depiction of then. We haven't changed. Charlie Chaplin said, look at the shitty world we live in right now. And everyone went, whoa, it's the future. No, it's right now, people, right now. And no one got the message because it was in metaphor, because he wrote it in fiction to say it's not real. So he wouldn't piss off the people in charge. So he called it fiction. So all the literal people thought, oh, it's not real. Modern Times depicted how shitty the workplace was in reality back in the 1920s. It was not a predictor of the future. It was a mirror of the present. So here we are, 60, 100 years later, we're looking back at Modern Times going, wow, it hasn't changed. Great. We never got the fucking message. Thank you, Charlie. We'll get right on that now. So I remember when I watched Modern Times and I went, oh, look at that. Nothing's changed. And you know how I know nothing's changed? Because I read John Steinbeck. You need to read Grapes of Wrath. You need to read Of Mice and Men. Because when you read Of Mice and Men and John Steinbeck, and then you watch Doctor Who, when they're all camping out in Central Park because the workforce is that fucking shitty, and then you read shit or you watched it like Modern Times and you go, whoa, it's all the same fucking shit. Nothing's changed in 100 years. Boy, we're really stupid. Oh, we are. We are dumb. Charlie Chaplin sitting there going, look at how shitty everything is, guys. Maybe we should change it. And instead we go, wow, it's of the future. No, Soylent Green is happening now. It's now. Okay, I'm done now. I'm done now for now. So yeah, so we had the Modern Times. That's where we're at. Is we're at the end of the Modern Times. We're like, all right, we've had enough. Let's get out of Modern Times. Let's go on to the next story because this one sucks. We went through Lord of the Flies. Lord of the Flies was fucking shit. That was back in the Dark Ages. So it's Lord of the Flies and then Modern Times. And now I'm sitting, oh, Brave New World. That's the one we need to go to. Brave New World. We'll do Brave New World next. Yeah. That's what we'll do. We'll do Brave New World. Actually, what we're doing is Atlas Shrugged. That's the one we're in now, guys. We're in Atlas Shrugged. So we've been through Lord of the Flies. And then we did Modern Times. And now we're in Atlas Shrugged. We're in the book after Atlas Shrugged. I have no idea what that is because it probably hasn't been written yet. But we're thinking it out. And here's the thing. Now it's like, all right, guys, let's talk about this. Because a mindset is society. So all you have to do is figure out what society you want. And then pick a mindset to match it. And then we'll groom it. Now, I don't know about you, but the last fucking ever sucked. And I want something nice now. Because, for every action, there's an opposite and equal reaction. So we got to make up for all the fucking shit. So creating a society. Because this is what sociologists do. It's also like a rite of passage of every philosopher who graduates from philosophy. Is they're like, all right, now I'm going to do it. I'm going to create my own society and I'm going to build a university. It's so funny. It's what we do. What I love is without knowing this, it's intuitive. We just do it. It's like, all right, I got all the tools now to build my own society and to build my own school. And then we do. And then it's like, woohoo, because that's what philosophers do. That's how I know. When you have a true philosopher on your hands, that's what they do. Because you know what Plato did after he graduated from Pythagoras' school? He wrote the Republic, and then he built the Academia. And you know what Aristotle did as soon as he graduated? He built the Lyceum. So yeah, that's right. You build your society, and you build your school, because the school is the core of a culture. Yep. So... oh, yeah, we're bringing back knighting, by the way. I've decided this. We're going to have knighting. We knight people now. We have a round table. We have Excalibur. I'm the queen who knights people. That's it. I even have like a whole, oh, yeah, we have a thing. I've got my knights. I have my knights. And we're going to, like, every June, we're going to do knighthoods. Because that was fucking awesome. I'm like, yes. And we're actually pulling, like, the best of every culture. From England, we pulled knighthoods and King Arthur. So we're like pulling the best of every culture. Like, tell us what's great about your culture, because we're going to merge it into this awesomeness of our new culture. It's going to be the best of all of us, the best of us all. the best of all that's ever. It's all going to go into our culture in honor of our culture. Ireland gets the music and the art and their bards. So we're bringing the bards back. So we got bards and knights. Bards and knights. That's what we got. Bards and knights and druids, because that's fucking awesome. Actually, a druid is a bard. A druid is a bard. But druids, bards, and knights. So we have the start of a culture starting. So I'm very excited about this. Very, very excited. Yep. We have salsa from Puerto Rico. We pulled that because, hey, why not? So it's going to be a fucking amazing culture. And so we're building something new. Very excited about this. I'm going to go sit now. Think about life, the universe, and everything. While I contemplate the meaning of life again. So thank you. May the kindest of words always find you. And this has been an imbroglio.